I've always had dogs since I was a child, and most of them purebred Chihuahuas and something. My first show dog was a Min Pin, and that was inadvertently. I saw a Min Pin in a pet shop.
Oh, really?
And was attracted to it. Fortunately, when I called back, it had been sold.
Yeah.
And I called the Louisville Kennel Club and got a directory for some people in Evansville, who, in my opinion, a gentleman named Harmon Montgomery is the most knowledgeable Min Pin person in the world.
What was his name?
Harmon Montgomery of Raymont Kennels in Evansville, Indiana. And I bought my first dog from him, which was a pet dog. And I finished him fairly quick. I went back and hocked my farm to buy me a good bitch, which is the secret of breeding purebred dogs, is your bitches, in my opinion.
No, what do you mean by that?
The quality from your puppies, I think, is 70% attributable to the bitch.
Oh, really?
And I've always felt that way. A good bitch will produce good puppies. Sometimes a mediocre bitch will produce you good puppies bred to a strong stud. But too much emphasis is put on big winning male dogs and what they can do. They produce a lot of champions simply because there's a lot of good bitches brought to them. But the most important factor in breeding program is your bitches, and only your good show bitches should be bred, in my opinion. The most prominent breeder in our breed for many years, Mr. McNamara, said a lot of people think you can breed two bitches because they're sisters and they carry the same genes, and it's not necessarily so. You can have litter mates that are not genetically related.
No, Wade, how can that be?
That's right, because the gene pools are altogether different, from recessives to things that can come down in the bitch. And you could type them any way you want to and not find that they were genetically brother and sister.
Huh.
They would. It's the same, kind of same difference as fraternal and identical twins. Identical twins will have the same genes and same chemical makeup in their skin and other things. Fraternal ones won't. There's a big difference, and in puppies it's the same way. You know, genetics is not an exact science, as you and I both know, and no matter how much time you spend in trying to determine genetically what you're going to have, it can drive you to drink. One of the most prominent pug breeders, the most prominent pug breeder that I can recall, was a lady from Oklahoma who moved to Louisville, and her husband is about as knowledgeable in breeding as anyone I know. He produced 5 generations of fawn pugs, and then he wrote a paper that these dogs, being crossbred, could not produce a black pug. He mated 2 of them and got 5 black puppies. And he stayed drunk for about a month trying to drown his sorrows. But it's just not an exact science.
Yeah.
You do the very best you can on paper and size, color, whatever, and then keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best when you make 2 dogs.
Yeah, but you said a moment ago only the top show bitches should be bred.
It's my opinion.
Well, the problem with that theory, though, is there's an awfully lot of top-producing dogs that simply weren't good show dogs, and we all know top show dogs who couldn't produce their time of day.
There's not as many as we say there is. Specifically in my breed, most of the big winners have produced well. And when I say top show bitches, I don't mean your top group winners and top best in show winners. Some of our top animals, and I have been fortunate enough and lucky enough to produce some good bitches that I have managed to take out and finish in 3 or 4 days, and I consider those top bitches.
Okay.
And I have one right now. Her name's Red Wings Above Suspicion. Finished in 4 or 5 shows. Would have been a top flight special. However, she was never special at time, for the simple reason that we were showing 2 specials at the time. Linda had a dog for Mrs. Swartz in Chicago. I was showing a male dog for Mrs. Norwood in New York. And this bitch just had to sit on the shelf, so we decided to breed her at a real early age. And as the old cliche goes, the rest is history, because she's produced the top quality of anything that we can find record of. Not numerically, because we only breed her every other season. and we will retire probably. But at that time she's 6 years old, she will have had her last litter.
No, wait, who is this we're talking about?
Red Wings Above Suspicion. She's a champion dog. I won the sweepstakes with her in New York at the New York Specialty, and immediately bred her to their best of breed dog. And they produced Buckskin Gal, they produced Dances with Wolves, produced Indian Lullaby, who all are best in show winners.
Wow, that's some kind of breeding there, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just been repeating, you know. And people keep saying, why don't you change stud dogs? But why should we change stud dogs to a breeding program that has become highly successful? We're producing the quality that we're looking for, so why should I take a chance and go some other way? When this is proven, if I was getting mixed breeds or mixed litters, I may change my mind. But we're very consistent. We've had a flyer in every litter. Every litter's had a best in show winner.
Yeah, but just to continually repeat the same breeding, is that really progress?
Well, certainly it's progress, because these bitches are all breedable to any male in the country. You know, it gives us bitches that we can cross into anything. We bring them back into our own land, because these dogs were produced out of a complete outcross. Two very well established lines.
I get a little confused here. We're talking about outcrosses and line breeding. Do you do much inbreeding?
I'm not opposed to it. And I don't consider it inbreeding. The closest thing we've got here is a granddaughter-grandson mating, which I feel probably produces as good a puppies as you can get in anything, in any breeding. I am not opposed to a father-daughter mating. It just hasn't come along at this specific time that I have a bitch that would do the very best bred back to her sire.
But if you found the occasion,
I would do it in a minute.
Well, there's a lot of people that are just really against that sort of thing, though, isn't there?
Yeah, they're against it, but they don't really know why. Tight inbreeding or real tight line breeding should only be attempted by people that know what they're doing. And if you do inbreeding on a very big scale, you are going to get in trouble. It's got to be very selective, and you've got to be prepared to destroy a litter of pups if necessary. If you get a lot of congenital defects, and you don't do that again, but you don't raise those puppies.
Yeah.
And this is something that has been going on since the beginning of time. The top winning min pin of all time was bred to several of his. He was bred to his mother a couple times, and produced top quality with everything he was bred to. And his mother was bred to numerous dogs, and she produced. Some dogs are made, some animals are made to produce, regardless of which way you breed them. But
how many champions have you finished over the years?
I really don't know. I've probably finished 100 min pins.
Have you really?
Now, not necessarily all of those were ours. Linda and I have been married 6 years, and we have finished probably 75 min pins. Not all ours. We show, as you know, we show dogs for other people, and we show a lot of min pins for other people. But for our own stock, we have a tremendous success rate with what we keep. But we only show our real good ones, and I think most breeders do this. The most important thing with puppies anyway is the home that they go to.
Well, that's a good point. Do you have trouble finding good homes for your pet quality pups?
Yes.
In all honesty, yeah.
Yes, you have no problem placing top quality show dogs for big prices. Yeah. But sometimes you have to sit on some lesser quality animals because you can't find a place that you're satisfied with. People have for strange requests to, I want to breed this bitch one time, and we will not sell a pet bitch or a pet dog that is not altered.
Is that right?
They can't leave here. We arrange it. They don't. We don't allow the people that buy the dog to do it, because so many times they can get misbred, and it's all back attributable to us if this occurs. This is out of so and so's bitch or whatever. Mm-hmm. I could have sold 2 bitches to a couple in Indiana, a school teacher, and he's not interested in breeding, but he wanted both the bitches, and we allowed a bitch to be spayed at cobbled if it could have been finished and nothing flat.
Yeah.
But it was more important that the home type of home she was going to. And he comes back to visit. They brought her back a couple times and invited us to see the situation that they live in. And again, it's heartbreaking when you sell a good dog and then you see it getting mistreated and not conditioned, and sometimes you have no alternative. There's nothing you can do about getting it back, and this is bad. I think all breeders should have very strong contracts with the people they sell to, because if you don't, you're leaving yourself out for a lot of heartbreak. We have a standing policy in our breeding program and our sales. I'll buy any dog back that I sell. And we've bought some dogs back 2 or 3 years later.
So can you account for most of the puppies that have been born here?
Yes.
Can you really?
Got records of where they go and what they've done. We even know their show records, the ones that we sell in show homes. We had a weekend last fall. We came home. We'd gone best in show somewhere, and phone message on there. 2 other of our dogs had won groups on the same day.
So you had
3 group winners and a best in show for one weekend.
not a bad day.
Not a bad day. They don't happen all that often, but there's a lot of times we got people calling that 2 of our dogs have won groups on the same day. And this is the big thrill to me, is that we have placed dogs. Linda and I get as big a kick out of somebody else winning with our dogs as we do. One of our puppies won a national specialty this year. We went best opposite to him. We were still thrilled to see the animal win the thing.
Well, now, when you sell a quality animal, do you tie it up with any kind of breeding rights?
Normally, most times when I sell a good bitch, I want to pick bitch out of maybe the first or second litter. And with males, I want to hold on to the right to breed to the dog. Bitches of my ownership. Mm-hmm. I won't try to tie somebody up where I can send an outside bitch to a dog. But I want at least 1 or 2 rematings for my own land from the people. We've never had a problem in dealing with people. And for the most part, we never put anybody in writing.
Really?
On this sort of thing. The Pennville fancy is a very close-knit group. We may not all agree about what we're doing, or we may not all agree about Pennvilles, but we all agree on what's good for the breed is good for us. And too few breed clubs, I think, really stress this. It's more in vogue now than it's ever been. It's trying to stress responsible dog ownership. But I want to know where Pennvilles are going. And I keep tabs on them. I check the pet shops here. There's nothing I can do about them, but I can really give them a bad time if they start selling them in there.
I bet you can.
And I will. We need all in the purebred dog fancy is look after what we sell. We should know where they go. Sometimes they can get away without us knowing it, but if at all possible, we need to know where they're going. There's some people you just can't sell a dog to, and you know them and I know them. And there's some people that's been in our breed for years that call me I wouldn't sell a dog to.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the way they maintain their dogs. I don't like the way they breed dogs. So consequently, you don't sell to them. It's just a fact of life.
Buddy, is a miniature pinscher, is it in fact a miniature Doberman pinscher? Are they identical except for size?
Not so. The Doberman pinscher is a fairly new breed. The first one was registered in 1890 in Germany. And the dog was developed by crossing a Rottweiler and a giant Schnauzer by a man named Louis Doberman. We can trace Pennville history back at least 500 years.
500 years?
And it's come about as to the best of our knowledge, it was a cross between a Dachshund, which you can see in the head and the color, with an Italian Greyhound, which you can see with the leggingness. Is where the Pennville came down from. The breed was developed in Germany, where they call them ray pinchers.